Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where our vehicles still aren't moving beyond the first waypoint. They're moving beyond the first hex, which I find interesting, and that must mean that the path isn't getting properly updated? Perhaps? I mean, it definitely should be. It's not going to the last waypoint, though, and then stopping, so it's not the retread path. It's not going to the second to last and then stopping, so it's not to do with this, like this count -1. It must be to do with this, except that it adds in every partial path into the path. It clears the path up here when we update it. So the question is, what is the next hex actually returning as? So let's go into our vehicle here, now that I've thought about it for a second, and we know for a fact that this isn't a problem, so we can get rid of that. And then when we do this right here, I want to know what our next location is. So debug.log next location, which is a vector 3. Okay, I mean, that's not going to be amazingly useful unless we were to take this next hex location. Yeah, this gets us what, the int 3? No, that's actually a vector 3. Oh, next location is the int 3. Okay. I was a little confused there for a moment. Debug.log next location.toString. Okay. So, we are going to be outputting what our next location is every time we create a new next location. So let's go ahead and run this. It's going to take a minute or so to load in. I think our next step, once we finish this, is going to be trying to figure out why the map size gives us an argument out of range exception, so that we can be working on a smaller map size, so that we don't have to wait for this large loading every time. Because this would be like the giant map size, right? This would be the largest map size in the game. And we don't need to be spending all of this time generating this every time. Because like a 50 by 50 is 2,500 world hexes. A 5 by 5, on the other hand, is 25 world hexes, which would generate very quickly indeed. That would of course be a tiny map, but for our purposes right now, that would be acceptable. Oh, these garbage collection spikes, though. They slow this down so much. Yeah, garbage collection is OP. I mean, ultimately, we need to generate less garbage, right? That's the way through. But that's going to be a pretty major re-engineering of the biome hex generation. So that's going to take a little time. And we will be doing it, but just not quite yet. The workaround of just having a smaller map means that we can do other more interesting things first. Okay, it's about to finish. One more garbage collection, and then there we go. Okay. So, realistically, we'll hop in here, and I don't like this hex, and that was a garbage collection spike. That's a bad hex as well, at least for what we're trying to do. Most of these are not amazingly good hexes for what we're trying to do. Ooh, here's a nice one, actually. It's got a nice internal circuit, which is what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's go ahead and purchase this mall. And we will go ahead and... No, we will demolish it. There we go. Construction, delivery and sorting, garbage collection spike. Postal office. Bam. We'll go ahead and select that. Get a delivery vehicle in there. Create route. Originate the route there. And then we'll take the route down to, say, here. And then the route to, say, here. There we go. Just the 2 waypoints. Nice and simple. And then we should go ahead and select our vehicle, transfer the vehicle into the route. There we go. And let's go ahead and tick this. When it enters that hex, which it just did, we can see 154, 45, 56. So, if we zoom on out here, I'm going to go into top isometric view. Or not isometric, but top orthographic view. And then we can zoom right on in, theoretically, anyway. And we can see here that our world hex is indeed, if it selects it, there we go. Our world hex is indeed number 154. And our biome hex, of course, is number 45. The real question is this hex 56? And it is. So then this hex here is hex 46. And then this next one is 54. So we expect when it reaches the waypoint here for it to give us hex index 54. So let's find out if it does. Let's go ahead and let it go on its merry little way. 49, 50, 55, 46. Okay, did it output the same thing twice? It did. Okay, so when it gets to the waypoint, it outputs itself. Right, it would. Right, okay, I know what the problem is. The problem here is that we include the origination hex in our pathfinding. That's fine. We can do that. But it gets added twice here because it's the destination of the previous partial path as well as the origin of the next partial path. So, what we can do is, I believe, we'll see if this breaks anything, but we can just do partial path dot remove at partial path dot last index of, or rather find last index. I just want the last index. We'll just do partial path dot count minus 1. Okay. And then for the retread path, it's okay to have it be the last one, right? Maybe. But the question then is, even if that's the case, shouldn't it have stopped there for one cycle and then continued? Because if we go into our vehicle here, it should have stopped at that hex and added in the progress, and then after it fills in the progress, started moving to the next one, right? Rather than just stopping. At any rate, let's see about removing this here and see if that does anything. What about at the end? I think it's fine to remove it there as well. We'll see if this works. Oh, we want retread path, not partial path. There we go. Okay. Let's see if this works, if this breaks anything, first of all. And if it does, then we'll fix that. If it doesn't, and if it just works, then I guess we'll say it's fixed, but I don't still understand why it stopped at the double path. Like, realistically. It feels like it should have just continued on its merry little way after one cycle. So after the amount of time it takes to travel one hex, it should have started moving again. Unless for some reason... I know what the problem is. Okay, the problem is that when we get next hex, we assume that there are no doubles in the route. Because what it does is it takes the current index, which is the path.index of, which returns the index of the first instance of the vector 3 in the list. It will never return the second index. So this assumes that there are no doubles in the path. That's the problem. Right there. Okay. We figured that out. Excellent. Now let's hop in here and make sure that that fix is actually working, the fix that we just deployed. I don't know that it is or not. It might break other things. I just want a good circuit. This'll do. We'll go ahead and buy this storefront, and then demolish the storefront, and we will construct a postal office, and this hex. Okay. We'll create a delivery vehicle inside of there, route management, create route, create a route there, select our route, and we will head down to here, and then say up to here. Sure, why not? Should do the trick. We'll select our vehicle, transfer it onto the route. Okay, moment of truth. Our line rendering didn't break, so that's a good sign. And there it goes. Traveling on over. And it's leaving. Excellent. I mean, it's traveling a little bit slowly because it's taking it an hour to go one hex. I'm not sure that's what we're really looking for. And we may want to optimize that hour tick as well. I'm noticing that we are getting some stalls on the hour tick, but that's something we can do later on. And as you can see, it is in fact looping. Excellent. And we probably do want it to travel a fair amount faster than this. Or at the very least have it travel on, like, off-hour tick times? Perhaps? Anyway, the vehicle is now traveling correctly. It's not facing correctly, but that's okay. I mean, realistically, this whole thing is not very aesthetic. I'm fine with it for now. So, the question then is, do we want to work on the map size issue, or do we want to implement the vehicle pickup? And the answer is, I have no idea. Well, it is basically time to put a cut in, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Next episode, we will do one of those two things. I'm not sure which yet. Subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.